It's recording.
Okay, thank you, Vicky. Welcome to the meeting of the Executive Cabinet Member for Culture Portfolio. It is Monday, 3rd of March 2025, and time's just gone 5:30. I'm Councillor Nadeem Ayub, the Executive Cabinet Member for Culture. Okay, just running through the agenda on non-confidential items. Monitoring of the Executive Cabinet Member decisions. Is there anything to come off, Vicky?
Yeah, the 2 finance reports for Q3 have been completed, so they can come off this time.
Okay, thank you. Duly noted. The next item on the agenda is the renewal of Bolton Library and Museum Service accreditation and zoo license schemes. Sam, are you going to take us through that one?
Yep, no problem, Councillor Ayub. So this report is seeking permission to approve updates to new policies in relation to accreditation, museum accreditation, archive accreditation, and zoo license. So for those of you that don't know, museums, archives, and zoo license are subject to accreditation. And what we've done is we've combined all the policies into one, so that when we submit for each of them, we're submitting the same policy. It makes it easier on our service, and it helps when we're forward planning. So we've actually just renewed our zoo license. This happened last week. And we've been awarded it again, which is really great news. Our museum accreditation is due to be submitted in April, and our archives accreditation is due to be submitted later this year. The focus of this meeting is museum accreditation, because for museum accreditation, we have to get the policies approved by ECM. That's not the case for archives accreditation or for the zoo license. So I will focus on museums in this meeting. So the purpose of museum accreditation, it's a policy and a scheme to create sustainable, focused, and trusted museums. It's a benchmark of quality, and it's almost like a framework for how museums should operate. It's monitored by Arts Council England, and supposedly every 4 or 5 years you submit a return for them to score it and mark it and give you the accreditation. We last received accreditation in 2014, unfortunately, we were due to submit at the beginning of COVID, but because of that, we weren't able to submit. And so it's only now that we're resubmitting. This has been the same for lots of other museums up and down the country. And whilst there's been that gap, there's been a little change in policy in terms of how they benchmark that quality, and therefore we've had to update the policies, which is why we're bringing it to this meeting. So the policies that have been updated, and they've been updated according to that framework, so we don't really have any room to manoeuvre on it. We have to do what that policy, what that framework says. So it's our collections development policy.
Oh, have we lost Sam? Or
yeah, looks like we've just lost her.
Oh no, you're back, Sam.
We just lost you for a second.
Am I back?
Yeah, you're back. Yeah.
So I think I was talking about the documentation policy, and that policy helps us figure out how we're going to record all our information in museums. So, for example, if we move an object somewhere, if we loan it out, it helps us keep record of where things are, so that at any point we know exactly where any one of our 400,000 objects are. Our interpretation policy, which is about how we decide to display objects. So that might be for things like, for example, if we have something of a sensitive nature, like human remains, We have guidelines for how we display those items. There's a live invertebrate feeding policy, which is associated with the zoo license. There's a research policy. So if you're an accredited museum, there is the assumption there that you will help people research in your collections. There's another zoo policy, a zoonotic disease policy, and there's an access statement too. We also have to submit a forward plan, which sets out our work for the next 5 years, and our forward plan links to the wider council plan. So for the museum, it focuses on audience development, digital, and also capital programmes. So I'll just say that for our museum's accreditation this time round, we're just submitting for the Central Museum here on the Man's Crescent and Smithills Hall. We would usually submit for Hollywood too, but as that's closed and not operating to the public at the moment, we won't submit with this renewal. And what will probably happen is that by the time we do our next renewal, we'll be further forward in our plans for Hollywood, and so we'll resubmit. So we have 3 venues later. I think that's everything, unless anyone's got any specific questions. It is what it is really, and we have to follow a very specific framework, and everything that we've created here and everything that we've changed is really rigid against that framework. Thank you.
Thank you, Sam, for that. Obviously, I've been briefed on it, so I don't have any questions. So anybody else got any questions for Sam on that? Nope, can't see anybody indicating. In that case, then I approve that report. And I think that is the end of the agenda. Let's double check. Yeah, there is nothing else on the agenda. In that case, can I thank everybody for joining and see you at the next meeting.
Thank you. Thanks, Sam,
Thank
for
you.
that.